Hey friends, my name is Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. That was Atlanta Pride 2024. That is the first thing that I've actually watched from it. I got in the door, I don't know, 30 minutes ago, and yeah, dumped everything onto the hard drive just to get it off of the 164 gig memory card that I completely filled. I've never filled a 64 gig memory card before. Although the Hero 12 is shooting in a higher resolution than the 10 used to. So file sizes are bigger, but I flew a lot. Between last night, the concert, and today, let's see, I'll tell you, we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 files here, and then there's a couple more files on the memory card that's actually in the in the GoPro. And that actually reminds me, I need to grab the files off of that one. So we'll get that rolling. Yeah, what an absolute blast. Just like last year. Super, super, super fun. I don't even... It's hard to figure out where to start. There was just so much. Very, very similar to last year, admittedly. There was another FPV pilot there. Jack Boring, I believe, is either his last name or his internet name. I think it's his actual last name, though. He is a videographer that started flying FPV at the pandemic, and Avata 2 Life, and it was great working with him. It was super, super, super cool. He was looking, he was looking at my stuff like, "Ooh, man, I haven't gone down that road yet. How insane is it?" I'm like, it's pretty nuts, but yeah, pleasure to work with. We had a great time together. Wild to see an Avata 2 carrying a Hero 12. It looks ridiculous, but it still gets more runtime than the CiottiFPVs that we built, which is just silly. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Like, yes, it's carrying the 04 system, so it's carrying a little bit heavier of a VTX and camera, but it's not that much heavier. And then all of the DJI, unicorn dust of like overcharging their batteries and sprinkling magic on the aerodynamic design of the frame and whatnot, running smaller motors. When we build CiottiFPVs, we put big beefy motors on there that stay nice and cool, that give us a good chunk of power. The Avadas come with fairly undersized motors. This is where the yaw washout problems come from with them. They just don't have motors that are big enough, and they also run narrower, taller motors. So it's a lighter motor, but it makes more power, and those motors overheat when you really push hard on them, and then you send it with a bunch of roll and yaw, send it into a bunch of roll and yaw, and yeah, that's when they bobble and fall out of the air. But still, good lord, what an impressive piece of kit, as always. I carrying a GoPro, like strapping 130 grams to the top of it, it still gets like, Christ, almost twice the runtime, I want to say, as like a Cinewhoop that we would build. DJI is magic, man, absolute magic. All right, so here's the 128 gig card. So here's a tip for you. Never, if you've got two memory cards, one of them is bigger, one of them is smaller, never run the big memory card first. Always run the small memory card. If it fills up, you have to take it out, and now it's safe. And then you put the big memory card in. Better yet, have a couple of smaller, 2 or 3 smaller memory cards. I would say like 64 gigs max. I would actually really recommend like 32 gig cards. 2 or 3 32 gig cards. It's going to force you to pull them out of there, and then they're going to be safe in your bag. It is, if you're flying something insane, you should actually have a ton of memory cards, and then like at the end of every battery, you pull the memory card. That's a little obnoxious. I've flown plenty of epic shit, and I've never really done that. But yeah, like if you just have one giant 128 gig or 256 gig card, you're never going to take it out of the damn thing, and that's not necessarily great. If you're flying a whole bunch of batteries, enough to fill a 64 gig or a 32 gig card out, that card should come out of there for safety. So it's perfect. It forces you to do that. So yeah, there's a tip for you. But then it is nice to have a giant card to throw in there, like, for the last whatever. And it's just nice to have a big memory card floating around. I've actually used them to like transfer files between hard drives and between computers and stuff like that. It's just it's super, super nice to have a 128 or a 256 gig card floating around. You're gonna spend all of like $20 on one. The prices of these micro SD cards is outrageous. But yeah, there you go. So here's a couple more files. Let's just pull these up into the Pride Parade, and yeah, I'm just roasted, absolutely exhausted. Yeah, last night was a long night. Today was a long, hot day. I walked almost the entire parade route. So last year I set up by the Rainbow Crosswalks, and I flew the entire thing from there. I was in like a really nice spot, and I had about 2 to 2.5 blocks of coverage to my left last year, and then another 2 to 3 blocks to my right. And that was great. That was absolutely perfect to just own that strip and just fly back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. This year we went, so that's like where the parade ends. It comes down this strip, and then it turns into Piedmont Park, and that's like it. And that's basically what I covered here. Down here there's a 90-degree corner, and then there's like 8 blocks and they're like not the short, like they're blocks like this, not blocks like that, right? They're like the tall blocks. Like 8 blocks of parade route. I didn't realize it was that long last year. And so this year I missed the golf cart that was headed up there. And so I ended up walking with all my gear, all my batteries, everything, like almost that entire parade route up like 5 of those big long blocks to get to the Fox Theater. And then I flew from the Fox Theater, and then I moved down a little bit. There was a really cool church that had a couple of LGBT banners hanging off the side. I flew 1 battery there to just kind of go up there and then drop elevation down, link back up with the parade. And then I walked all the way down and around back to Piedmont and 10th, and then flew the last couple of batteries there. There was a little bit of a faux pas today of like um, the beginning of the parade. I'm assuming has like the biggest donors or whatever. Maybe not. Maybe it's just random. But like Coca-Cola is in the beginning. Delta is in the beginning of the parade both years. Like the same, and they show up with like big floats, loads of people, like hundreds and hundreds of people for each one of them. And so um, flew a bunch of batteries for them to get really good coverage of the beginning of the parade. The Atlanta Marching Band is also there. A bunch of like obviously super important folks at the very beginning, and then there was like a kind of like a gap where there were like it seemed like smaller, like not even floats, just like groups of people, um and there was just this like big old gap, and it was like, oh, okay, is that like, are we, was that beginning group like the main ones, and now it's smaller than last year or whatever. So we both ended up flying like a lot of batteries for those first bunch of groups. um and then like by the time we got down to 10th and Piedmont, so like we're talking probably like an hour and a half into it, all these big floats start showing up, and like we're already down to like I was down to two, maybe three of my XT60 batteries. I had a bunch of the 4S 850s with the XT30 leads on them, that I don't usually fly on the Cinewhoop. But yeah, I didn't realize that. I will not make that mistake again last year. It was not like that last year. Last year it was just like constant, just, yeah, nonstop. There was no gap like that. There was just big floats. All the big floats, all the big groups were back to back to back to back for the first like hour and a half. So that was kind of a bummer. I mean, we got a ton of insane footage. Like nobody will ever know, but other than Jack and I. But yeah, I'm a perfectionist. I want to get absolutely everything that I possibly can, to hand over to the folks that hire me, so that they can, just selectively cut out the absolute best stuff. And there were, yeah, I mean, there were a couple of big, really cool looking floats that it was like, basically what it turned into was like looking down the line and trying to find like two or three or four giant groups with like a lot of energy in a row, and then let them pass and then launch, because like we were limited on batteries, and then so it's like launch, run to the left to the front as far as I can to the front of the line, turn around, and then cover as many of those as possible. So like sometimes there would be like a big ass group and like a really cool float, but like in front of it and behind it there were like smaller groups where they didn't have, crazy colors and balloons and wild shit, and it was like, sorry, but like we had to be a little bit selective. So that, yeah, I would rather have, I don't know, next year I'm considering next year. So last year, the Atlanta News was there, and last year they wouldn't let me fly from inside their little area. I assume that would be the same thing this year, but apparently Atlanta Pride partnered up with them this year, so they did let us fly from in there. This is once we got down to 10th and Piedmont. I wish that I'd brought my big boy charger set up, because they had power there, and so I could have, in theory, plugged into their power and tossed a whole bunch of the batteries on the big boy charger at 20 amps on a parallel board, and just ripped them on up to 420. So that was, hey, now I know for next year. And I actually talked to a couple people at Atlanta News, were like absolutely blown away, freaking out by what we were doing. And I talked to a couple of them about possibly using my live event gear next year for them, to have them pipe it into the truck. They actually said like, oh yeah, we already have a guy doing that. I was like, oh, what's he flying? He's like, oh, he's a Mavic. He's flying a Mavic Pro 3 or whatever. It's a couple hundred feet up. I was like, oh, that's super cool. If you want even more than that next year, here's what I do. And I showed him some of the cycling stuff, the live cycling event coverage stuff. And he was just like, whoa, okay, we'll be in touch. So yeah, super, super, super cool. One of the performers actually from last night, came over and found us and was like, what do you guys do with that footage? And, you know, we explained like we're with Atlanta Pride. But what was really cool is I got to say to her, you know, hey, I'm actually doing this and selling these files as stock footage. If Atlanta Pride doesn't buy the files that are of you, you're more than welcome to buy them from me. And like her producer was like, oh my God, great. Do you travel? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, all right, great. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. So, yeah, could be some more music video stuff there. That would be amazing. Last night was the concert. Holy shit. Look at this. At least twice as many pop-up tents as last year. It was huge. Like if it keeps growing like this, they're gonna fill Piedmont Park up, and Piedmont Park is gigantic. Yeah, I'll play a couple of these for you guys. So these are all 8x7 because that's the move now with the new GoPros. The sensor is 8x7, which you're not losing any field of view in terms of the width. You're gaining vertical field of view. So when I crop this down to 16:9, I'm not losing any actual field of view here. But then what's super cool is for Instagram, you can crop in and there's all that extra real estate on the top and bottom, which is just amazing. Yeah, look at this. If you look at my Pride edit from a couple days ago, Jose, thank you for the $1 super chat, man. Thank you for supporting the insanity. Hey, this is my full-time job, friends. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's a ton of ways that you can support me. Patreon helps me out the most. You can jump on for as little as $3 a month. That's 10 cents a day. Come on, you're in FPV. You can't tell me you don't have 10 cents a day to spare for your gangly buddy to put food on the kid's table. Is that shilly enough for you? Yeah, tons of other ways you can support me. There's an Etsy store where you can buy some really fun stuff. I've put a ton of awesome stuff up there. Definitely check it out. Fiverr page where you can work one-on-one with me. I'll teach you how to do this stuff. Teach you how to fly better, build better, tune better, anything you need. I've been in this for 8 years. Take advantage of that. There's a Teespring store where you can get some fun apparel. And then there's a whole bunch of affiliate links. Replace your bookmarks with affiliate links. There's no reason not to. There's absolutely no effect on you for using affiliate links, and those of us that are here creating content, trying to buy more stuff to test, make a couple of bucks when you check out. That's how you support me, my friends. Yeah, if you look at the edit from last year, you will see a lot less, like pretty much half as many pop-up tents. I was completely blown away. Like, I went up in the air. The beginning of this is the very first battery that I flew. The beginning of this battery, I was just kind of like looking around, like, holy shit! And I'm like, oh right. I gotta fly for footage. So yeah, really crazy amount of people. Good for them, man. Just. There aren't many better organizations that I know of than these Pride organizations in every big city. They are making a difference in tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of people's lives, and just bringing joy and love and just awesomeness to the universe. So yeah, super happy to see them growing this much in just 1 year. Like, just insane. We were at the parade for like 4.5 hours, and there were still more than 10 blocks of floats coming. My feet were trashed. My back was trashed. Like, we were just done. I mean, we were out of batteries. It was time to go. But yeah, holy Christ, it was quite the the amount of people. You know, I know that people come from around the world for Atlanta Pride. It is one of the bigger prides that get put on in the U.S. But like, just knowing that there's this many people willing to go to Pride, and this many people like filled with love and not hate. Yeah, it's just, god damn, it just. it gives me hope. It really does. It gives me hope that we might be okay on this fucking planet, man. Like, um, yeah. First battery. The parade is really it's super fucking emotional, man. I don't know if that's maybe just for me. I know it's not just for me. I know it's emotional for a lot of the people that are there. Probably most of the people that are there. I don't know if that comes through to any of you guys, but just take my word for it. Like, first battery up in the air and at the parade, like I was I was starting to like tear up in the goggles at the end of that battery. I was like, Jesus, like it's just overwhelming, man. It's just super 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 overwhelming to see that many people in one place, just there for like in the name of like love and hope and pride. Like, oh man, we might be okay, friends. We might be okay. We might just I don't know, might be all right. So yeah, super emotional couple days. The festival, the concert on Saturday nights, like I don't know, it's more of like that festival kind of vibe, and it's less like, it feels more like a big ass concert than Pride, and like that's not a bad thing. But like today, the actual parade on Sunday, it's just incredible. I'm so lucky to get to be a part of it. It's yeah. Like, if they don't buy any of my footage, I don't care. I do not care. Like, the fact that I was able to come out and do what I love there, and like the here's a perfect example. I never get pictures or footage of me flying. I put the goggles on. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, that's cool. How high does it go? How far does it go?" But like, that's where it ends. Nobody ever takes a picture of me. Nobody ever takes video of me. Like, a half a dozen people took what were like blown away today, taking footage, taking pictures, like asking me like intelligent questions about it. It's just like the group of people, the people that show up to these are just magic. They're just magical human beings, and yeah, it's just so cool. It's just so cool. What else happened last night? We flew a bunch. It got dark pretty early. In like the sets, there were still two artists going on when it had gotten like after sort of blue hour. It was really nice. I'll tell you what, these bright ass yellow shirts that they gave us, as these are their volunteer shirts, were like a godsend. There were points where like I would turn around towards Jack and I from hundreds of feet away, and I could see us bright as day. Last year, I had like my CiottiFPV black shirt on, and there would be points where like I would come back in to land, and I have no idea where I'm at. Every once in a while, I would catch the lights on the side of the side of my goggles, but there were times where I would I would have to weave in and out of people. Usually, like, we can hear them, but this is a concert, right? So like, if the band was on, like, I couldn't really hear the Cinewhoop. Not this year, man. This year, like, it was so obvious, man. Like, nobody else in the crowd was wearing bright yellow t-shirts. So that was actually really cool. If you're ever gonna fly like a long range mission and or like any scenario where it might be hard to come back and find yourself, wear a bright ass t-shirt, and it'll make a huge difference. So that was super cool. Yeah, we went up when it was pretty dark. The DJI, the old school DJI system, was totally fine. Jack was on the 03, and there was just nothing there. It was a really interesting look at like the downside of the well, the Avata 2 is on the 04 system though. I wonder what the FPV. I know that the 04 system is better in low light by apparently a little bit than the Hero 12. I wonder if the FPV side of it is as good in low light. I know that the O3 system is shit with low light. Um, but yeah, he's on a Nevada 2, not a Nevada 1. Um, he's not like a super go hard FPV guy though. So it might have been like a little darker than he wanted, and he just was like, nope, 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 not doing it. He put the Mavic up, which was cool. But yeah, I was really, really, really happy to see how safe that he was. With newer FPV pilots that are flying Avata DJI only gear, right? Um, it's easy to think like, oh, they're the reckless idiots, because and like we see it on Instagram, right? Like all over Instagram in every major city, there are a whole bunch of complete assholes flying Avata 2s through traffic and Mavics like around buildings in like obviously sketchy situations. And like you look at their profile and like, 6 months ago there's no drone footage whatsoever. So it's like, great, these are the guys that are gonna kill someone and ruin it for all of us. And so it's easy to kind of like associate DJI stuff with that, to be totally honest. Because like, there's little to no barrier to entry with DJI stuff, right? Like you don't have to go down the 6 month to a year rabbit hole that is, our version of FPV, where build it, fly it, crash it, repeat, right? And so like with DJI stuff, you don't have that massive chunk of effort and time that you've put in on the front end to then keep you safe, because I'll be goddamned if I lose this thing that I've got 100 hours into, or just ruin it for everyone, right? Because you're so invested in it. It was really, really, really good to work with someone that's been on only in the DJI ecosystem, that is like properly safety conscious and careful, and just not the idiots that we see all over the place on Instagram. So yeah, that was great. I was, initially, like when I found out he was on all DJI stuff, and like he's mainly a cinematographer and just, basically learned FPV to get cooler camera angles, I was like, oh shit. I hope this isn't going to be a problem. But pretty quickly I was like, this guy knows what's up. He knows his limits. He knows the limits of the gear. He did have I'm super glad he asked me these questions, but he did have a couple questions for me about like basically like, how do I know when I'm towards the end of my range? And so that was great. Like I'm totally okay with people not knowing stuff that like I kind of wish that they knew, as long as they ask. You know what I mean? Like if you're willing to ask that question, like that's what matters, because then I can have the conversation about link quality, about RSSI, about megabits per second, right? And the difference between the transmitter link and the goggle link, and stuff like that. So that was really, really, really cool. Really great experience. And it just absolutely reminded me that like pilots that only fly DJI are not the enemy. Like don't put them all into that box, right? Like, yes, we see the idiots on Instagram, because the idiots are the ones doing the sketchy flying that lots of people click on, right? But like, not everybody is like that. There are plenty of DJI only pilots that are mature enough and have enough brain cells to be careful, right? And just because they didn't have that massive barrier to entry that we did, they're able to understand that if they fuck up, they're going to potentially ruin it for everyone, and that ain't cool. So yeah, that just a really, really, really good experience. And Jack seems like a super cool guy. I mean, we didn't get to hang out much. We were both working, but we were covering each other all over the place. He was calling out power lines and shit like that. I was calling out like the Atlanta News had like a boom arm, a big ass boom arm that would reach like half the way out. And so like I'm calling that out for him when he's up in the air. Yeah, it was really, really, really nice. We weren't flying right next to each other for the whole time. We were separated a bunch, especially today. But man, when we were flying to get with each other, it was really, really, really nice to have that other pilot there to cover your ass. There was a moment where he was taking the Avata 2 off, and he was like looking at the tree, but then and normally trees, the leaves on trees are like this, but the tree that he happened to be at, the leaves went like this, and then out and then up and over. And he took off in like the just wrong spot. And I'm like, stop, because he was just going right up towards the canopy, and he's at like a couple of degrees up tilt. There was no way for him to see it. So yeah, we definitely covered each other's asses on a bunch of occasions. It's just super nice to have another pilot there. If nothing else, then to like keep an eye on each other's gear right when you're in the goggles. So yeah, that was great. That was really great. It was awesome to work with him, and he is one hell of an editor and videographer. He's got some awesome stuff on his Instagram page. He is miles beyond me in terms of just straight up like videography and editing, but he's been doing that for a long time. Like the 8+ years that I've been just buried in FPV, he's been doing videography. So like, go figure. But I love that. I love videographers that pick up FPV and use it to do the things that you can't do with gimbals and Mavics, right? It is so cool to see a proper videographer incorporate FPV into their edits, especially because they're the people that are going to best figure out how to do that. Like, it is difficult for editors to incorporate FPV in with everything else because it is so different. Like, FPV is so action packed, and like we're losing the horizon all the time, and like that's one of the biggest things, right? Like, gimbals level the horizon, Mavics level the horizon, static cams that you put on the ground on a tripod level the horizon, right? And then so to have all of your footage in an edit have a completely level horizon, and then all of a sudden you've got fucking it's like super jarring in a bad way. And these videographers that have been in that world that then pick up FPV, they are the ones that are going to be figuring out how to do that. How is the best way to ease into that FPV shot? And so yeah, to get to work with one of those guys was just amazing. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Sorry, chat, I've been completely ignoring you. Frosty says, I've got a new build that's got one motor twitching on arm. I've got all the normal beats on startup, tried a known good motor, and checked for solder balls. Any advice before I buy another ESC? You said it's a new build, so it sounds like it's doing that right out of the box. Send it back. Do not... There is no reason that one channel should be twitching and the other 3 shouldn't. If they were all twitching, it would be one thing. But if you've swapped another motor on there, or taken one of the motors that's not twitching and then swapped that with the twitching motor, and the problem stays on that ESC channel, just like those Spectre, HDLRC Spectre AIOs that 2 in a row did exactly that, send them back. They're broken. Don't troubleshoot that. If you guys get new stuff out of if you guys ever get an AIO or an ESC out of the box and one channel is doing something weird and the other channels are fine, don't waste your time. Send an email back. Hey, explain one channel is twitching. If you want, tell them you switch 2 motors and it continues to twitch. Like, make it very obvious in your email to them that you've troubleshot it. You know what you're talking about. You watch CiottiFPV. Don't tell them that. They'll probably be like, oh, this guy's an asshole. But yeah, don't waste your time. Just send that email back to them. Hey, I'm going to need you to send me another one of these. I've been around the block. I know what's what. This is a bad product. And the retailers are used to it, right? You're not the only one. That's like the HDLRC Spectre. I'm sure that all of these retailers have gotten tons of those back, right? So like, it's probably a known thing with that product, and they more than likely won't fight you on it. Depending on which reseller. Some resellers have customer service folks that are customer service policies that are much more customer friendly, let's say, than others. Some of these companies kind of really push you and make you jump through a bunch of hoops it feels like in hopes that you'll just give up and keep the damn thing because that makes them money. But yeah, so you will get different experiences between different retailers. But yeah, I've had really, 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 really good luck with Get FPV, Newbie Drone, and Pyro Drone. And so if you've bought from any one of them, you probably won't have much of a fight. And yeah, just don't waste your time. That's the big thing. Don't waste your time. Like, switch the motors and don't screw around with startup power. Don't screw around with reflashing it to a different Blue Jay. There's absolutely no reason that one channel should act any differently than the other three. Uriel says, happy to hear you're so positive. Yeah, man. This is the kind of thing that just absolutely refills my gas tank of I mean, a little bit of everything. Like, it refills my FPV gas tank for sure, but it also refills the tank of like hope for humanity. Because there's a lot of bad shit out there. And it's hard to not let it just drag you down into like unbelievable negativity. So this is a massive ray of sunshine. Uriel also says maybe a nice coop co-op with that guy. That'd be fun. Uriel also says, are real photographers using the drone as more in a static way to have steady shots? Not with Avatas, to my knowledge. Although what's interesting is you can do a lot. Like, I'm actually surprised. If it were me, if I was a videographer, I would get rid of my Mavic and get an Avata 2, because the damn thing looks down. It doesn't look straight down, but it looks down a good amount on that adjustable gimbal up front. I know that I know that the straight down shot is like a classic, and a lot of people want that. But I don't know, that shot kind of feels stale, right? Like, we've all, I mean, we're weird because we're in the world of drones, so of course we've seen it a million times. Maybe most people haven't, but I don't know. I feel like regular human beings have seen that straight down shot a million fucking times, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you got a drone, cool, bro. Yeah, I don't know. The adjustable gimbal on the Avata 2 is super powerful, man. And so yeah, and the Avata 2 has the crazy modes, and it's got the hold, whatever, altitude hold, position hold, whatever the hell it's called. And so yeah, I mean, you could throw that thing up and set that gimbal to look down and just walk away from it like these guys can do with the Mavics. But I know that I know from my own Mavic 2 Pro that they get wild runtime, right? 7-inch non-prop guarded propellers. And the Mavics are pretty fast. They go I think like 40-50 miles an hour. So there certainly are advantages, but man, like if you were gonna pack light, an Avata 2 in like in a light bag, that's a hell of a tool right there, man. You can do a lot with that. So yeah, I mean, those folks probably all have the Mavics already, and it's like, why would I get rid of them? But it would be interesting to see a videographer just load out with like gimbal, Avata 2, DSLR, whatever the hell those guys are using nowadays. It would be super cool to see what you could get with that super light kind of loadout, you know? Other fun stuff from Sit. Well, I guess I played you guys a quick clip from the parade at the beginning of the live stream, but in case you weren't here in the beginning of the live stream, here's another file. These are, of course, all washed out. They're in, I keep wanting to say D-Log, but that's DJI's name for it. I guess it's just log in the new GoPro. Log 10-bit. So they look terrible now, but Jesus, do they look... The thumbnail is with light editing in Photoshop. Yeah, these files in log 10-bit have a ton of range that you can really dial in. I'm really impressed with the Hero 12 versus the Hero 10. Big step up. It's a shame that they made zero improvements in the Hero 10. Or, sorry, in the Hero 13. But they did change the battery connector so that you can't use any of your old batteries. Assholes. That is like one of the most dick moves ever. That is just like, boy, thanks for nothing, you jerks. If they had at least, like, I don't know, never mind. Let's not start bashing GoPro. It doesn't do us any good. Here's the second battery I flew. I have not watched any of this yet. So I have no idea what we got here. Although this is like halfway. I don't know why this is halfway through, but yeah, this is the Atlanta Freedom Band. They are absolutely awesome. And yeah, there's the Fox. The Fox is like one of the, if not the premier, like kind of fancy venue for really cool theater and art in Atlanta. So like, yeah, the Fox is like the closest thing that we have to Broadway here. This is all also not stabilized. This will look way better once I get it into Real Steady Go. It's funny, man. At this point, like, I still fly somewhat smooth, but I fly less smooth than I used to because I know that I'm gonna put it through Real Steady Go, which is kind of nice because when you're a little bit more aggressive and then Real Steady Go smooths it out, it has a really cool look. I actually like that look better than flying ultra smooth and then putting it through there. You can of course adjust the amount of smoothness in Real Steady Go, but like putting the smoothness and the speed both at 10 is like really, really nice. And yeah, when I kind of fly a little bit more raw, and then with that, it just looks really nice. It's just a really, really cool look. Yeah, I'm hoping they like some of this footage. I really wanted to get in close to I was trying to figure out the timing of the color guard's flags to see if I could get a little bit of proximity there, but it was a little bit too erratic, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna make it. So that's why you see that big elevation jump. I was like, nope. We're gonna be safe. We're gonna stay the hell out. But there was like a split second where I was like, shit, if I time this right, I can come right past her when that flag is going around. But then I was just like, nah. Like if you know, that's a perfect example of like the difference between flying an event where it's like a live event and it's totally unplanned and you know, there's no rehearsal, there's no like working together with people, versus something where you can talk to the people and have a conversation and like ask them, you know, what's the pacing, does it go with the music, is what you're doing going with the music, so you can like plan it out, and then also have the conversation with them of like, hey, if you smack my drone with your flag, it's okay. There's a very, very, very big difference. You know, it's basically like live performance flying versus flying on set. If you're flying on set and like people have marks and it's a closed set and there's not going to be like some stranger walking in front of you, it's a whole different story. You can get way, way, way sketchier and crazier in that scenario. This is obviously not that at all. And so you got to back the hell off. Like, yes, what we do is pretty safe. These rigs are prop guarded. They're light, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, it's just, you just can't. You can't go down in a situation like this. That like the most important thing is that you don't go down, regardless of, you know, like in a parade setting like this. Here's some more. In a parade setting like this, we're pretty safe, right? Like most of the areas that I would go down are concrete, but it doesn't matter, right? Like it's just not an option. You just don't go down. The end. So yeah, a little bit of different scenery here versus last year. Not flying these at that Rainbow Crosswalk, but this was still a very cool spot. It was very, very, very tempting to dive these buildings, but under these buildings there were crowds of people, and it's just not worth it. Not to mention that, like, how the hell is their editor gonna work in a building dive to the rest of their footage? Like, forget it. It's just like, yeah, it's super cool, but like, it's not gonna get used. It's not gonna get edited in unless it ends up being like its own clip. But then it's like, you know, do you really want to be the guy doing a building dive where you're looking straight down on a crowd of people? Like, I don't. And so, yeah, discretion is the better part of valor. Did my best to drop down in front of the banners at the beginning of each one of these groups. Any of this footage that Pride doesn't buy, any of these files that Pride doesn't buy for me, I'm going to get in touch with these companies' social media departments and offer it up to them. You know, Pride gave me permission to fly, and that's it. They paid me nothing for this. All of this flight footage is mine. None of this is theirs. So, yeah, this is a completely different sort of model or whatever than I've ever done. But hopefully I can, yeah, make a couple of bucks. We'll see. We'll see how this works. I'll be super interested in what kind of happens here. Anytime somebody like looks up at me and gives me a little bit of love, I always try to drop down and say hi to them. It's super interesting. Like, even at an event, like the response that I get from people at any Pride events that I've been to over the last year and a half is completely different. Like people are so much more excited. There's so much less like people trying to knock it out of the air and just assholes. There's just very, very few to no assholes. But there's that, but then there's also like people legitimately getting excited and like giving me a reaction, right? Like, we got a little reaction here, but like, look, like they're partying a little bit, but like every once in a while you'll get somebody that actually understands, like, look, there's a camera there. Let me like freak out and scream and throw my hands up in the air. And yeah, you still don't get that reaction as often as you would think. But I don't know, the media has made people afraid of drones. I don't know if it's the media or just asshole drone pilots peeping Tomming on people or whatever, but yeah, drones just have a weird connotation with a lot of people still, and I really do get to see that. But more often than anything I've ever flown, I actually get some really nice reactions from people at these events, and that's like that's the stuff that gets used. That's the stuff that gets used. Yeah, I mean that those are the clips that that have legs and get put into like the big fancy edits and get some airtime or whatever. So yeah, very, very, very fun. Very tiring though. I'm gonna sleep like a corpse tonight. Uriel says they look like nice people. Over here we have furries, naked people with fake animal heads who are humping each other. And I'm not gonna say that on YouTube, but it's too much over here. We get that too at these. Look, self-expression is. There are no limits to self-expression. Just because we think it's weird or whatever, that doesn't mean anything, right? Like, everybody is allowed to have their own experience. And if dressing up as a giant teddy bear is their thing, that, you know, I fly toy helicopters. Why am I not the asshole and they are? It's you know, it's not. As long as you're not hurting other people, like, you know, you got to just, and believe me, I get it. Like, I see that, like, I get it. I totally get it. But you gotta do your best to just like catch yourself and just be like, hey, you know, not hurting anybody. Just because I think it's weird doesn't really mean anything. You do you. We gotta all do that as often as we possibly can. It's important. It's really, really, really important to do that. Like, how shitty. Look, here's the fucking perfect analogy. How much does it suck when somebody gets pissed off at you when you're out flying your drone? It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing, just A stranger hating on you for flying a toy. How obnoxious is that? A stranger hating on you for wearing a furry costume and not doing anything wrong, right? Like it's just there's no reason. There's no reason to. But again, there's this weird, like, well, it's not weird. I mean, it's just it's tribalism, right? It's the conform or die. We are wired to form tribes and to like conform. I'm just trying to think of a different word, but yeah, conform to the norms of that tribe. That is human nature. But we are an evolved species now, right? Like, we have evolved. Humans have been around for a long enough time where we can realize, like, hey, in a lot of situations, that doesn't make any sense and it hurts other people for no real reason. So let's just stop doing that because we're evolved. But it's hard, you know, you got to remind yourself of it. Like every once in a while, there's still a part of me that's just like, look at this. And then you just do your best to catch it and just, you know, is what it is. Uriel says, not on the street, please. Humping, like humping in public. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Ramdonko says, Levi asked, hey, I had the $5 super chat on Wednesday. Remember, you couldn't get the link. Yes, Levi. How do I get the link? Where's it at? Tell me what to search for on Google. That's the easiest way to do it. Tell me what to search for on Google. Yeah, you can't put a link. But yeah, tell me what to search for on Google. I'll do that and I'll take a look at it. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, the other day. Bad Neuron says, nice split ass on the Fox. Nice footage, mate. Thank you, dude. That was, I had, it's funny. I'd been trying to line that up just right. And it was, I think that was maybe like the third attempt. And as I was raising elevation, I was like, oh, this is the one. And I just kept the sticks exactly where they were. And it just popped up perfectly right over the top of the sign. I'm like, yep, down we go. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about cinematic flying is that, like, sometimes you'll find this like 20-30 second run that you can do that's not easy, and you'll try it a couple times, and then when you get it, it's just magic. Levi says pastebin.com. What's that? Pastebin.com. Pastebin API tools, new paste. What is this? Public pastes. Oh my God, Levi, what is happening? You can type more than one letter into each message. Oh my God, what in the world? Pastebin.com /UYW. Yeah, you're making me work for that $5. G5SY. Okay, I think that's it. Let me not be on my monitor when I do this, just in case Levi is 404 not found. Pastebin.com /UYW. Type that after the slash. Type it out into one big thing so that I can. Frank Nicholas says Pastebin is case sensitive. I kept the capitalization in there. G5SY all capital. Yep. Oh, I missed the Z. The Z was not capitalized. Let's see. Page is no longer available. Type Levi, type out everything after the .com. YouTube won't flag that. Won't delete that on you. We're doing mailbag in a second, but I want to do this first because otherwise I'll forget. It won't. How will it not let you? It won't let you type UYWZG5SY. Will it let me? It'll let me. Is that right? I just put it into the chat. Is that right? lowercase UYW, uppercase ZG5SY. That's what you got, right? UYW, UYW, Y is capital. Got it. There we go. Question for Ciotti. Best racing... Oh, I see what you did here. Best racing rig... Oh, I'm not the guy, man. You know I don't race. With this spec. Drones in school spec. Interesting. 1. Flight controller and motors have to be one of the allowed models at the bottom of this page. www.dronesinschool.com. That's a cool website. Look at this. Yo. Drones in school. This is awesome. Okay, so flight controller and motors have to be one of the allowed models. Whoa. Oh my god, that's a lot. What's the question? Best racing rig? Man, I am just not the racing guy, brother. Whoa. Max 2S. Okay, propellers 45 millimeter max must. Okay. Okay, so propellers 45 millimeters max. The 45 millimeter propellers are okay, I guess. Oh, these motors are weird. They've got 1105 approved motors for a 45 millimeter prop. That's jacked. Holy hell, this is a lot of stuff to choose from. Well, it sounds like it has to be a tiny whoop, so that's gonna really narrow down the flight controllers. So basically, we're only gonna be looking at Beta FPV and Happy Model. F3 Pro, no. Okay, so I'm thinking it's gonna be the X12, either the X12 or the F41S. Okay, so this is the cross style Beta FPV, or maybe it's this one down here. But yeah, so it's going to be one of those two. If you use the X12, oh well, you said they're going to make the frame, so I think it's going to be the X12. I think it's going to be the X12 because then you get the 12 amp FETs. The Beta FPV AIO here is only the 5 amp FETs. So yeah, I'm gonna say X12 for the flight controller, and then for the motors, or the Beta, yeah, the Beta FPV. So I think this is gonna be a 75 millimeter motor to motor build, and then X12 with the Beta FPV 1102, 22,000 kV if you wanted to do. Since it sounds like the kids are going to be building the frame's probably going to be heavy. So yeah, the Beta FPV 1102, 22,000s if it's 1S, 18,000s if it's 2S. Yeah, that's all the motor that you'll need because the max prop size is 45 millimeters. So you're going to be basically running either the 45 millimeter HQ ultralight props or the Gemfan 1610 biblades. Again, if the kids are designing the frame's probably going to be heavy. So the other option would be the HQ ultralight tri-blades. The motor selection is really tough. There are way too many motors on here. And there's a lot of motors on here that I don't really have a whole hell of a lot of experience with. Like the 1103s and stuff like that. The Beta FPV 1102 is a hell of a motor though. So I think I'm still sticking with that. It's going to be nice and light. It's a known good balanced motor. 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, which will jive with the HQ props. Yeah, most of these, all these brushed 802, these are all totally out of the question. RC and Power 1002s are here. That's pretty cool. But again, the Beta FPV motor is a little bit bigger and it's barely any heavier. Yeah, see, these are probably too low of a KV here, these T motors. Yeah, I think it's the Beta FPV 1102 in 18,000 KV for 2S, 22,000 KV for 1S. There you go. There's my final answer. Very cool. Dronesinschool.com. I absolutely love that that exists. That's great. Uriel says, it's commercial, ask money for expertise. Indeed. X12 is also solder free, right? Motor plugs. Let them focus on building the frame rather than learning to solder. I can't imagine trying to teach kids to solder. Jesus. I have a hard time teaching adults to solder sometimes. I stole that from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to their channel. It's the least that you can do for my theft. So, no. Don't break things. Tiny Whoop order. I had to get some stuff. And so I never just buy one thing. So I got a bunch of stuff. I got a couple more. I've managed to run through my Cockroach V3 frames because I'm using these frames in so many builds. What is that noise? Oh, that's the garbage disposal right above my head. Yeah, 2 new V3 Cockroach frames. Just to like have. I don't have any builds planned for those, but I don't think I had any extra of those frames, and that's just silly. I got the Runcam HDZero Lux camera because I know that somebody out there wants to see me review this. So yeah, I gotta figure out a way to mount this. I'm pretty sure that this won't, I'll tell you in a second, fit in the old school Mobula 6 canopy. So yeah, mounting this might, nope. No holes in the corners. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try to figure out a way to mount this. Look at that, there's no connector on it either. It's just direct solder. Interesting. I didn't expect that. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Figure out how to mount this up and we'll see how it looks. I would love for this camera, I don't know, man. How do I love, tell me how to love HDZero, friends. How? What do I have to do to fall in love with HDZero? Like, I've tried everything. I just can't. How do I do it? What am I missing here? You know, I would love for this camera to look incredible, but the way that HDZero breaks up, it looks so bad when it breaks up, that it's like, I almost didn't buy this because, like, why run a camera that looks good with a VTX that breaks up with these insane squares and rainbows and shit? But I got it because I know that you guys want to see me test it, and that's, you know, when I'm on websites and I see stuff that I know you guys will want me to test, I buy it. That's a part of my job. It's weird to do that because there's lots of stuff that I buy that I have absolutely no interest in. But you know, you guys go onto my Patreon and subscribe for $3 or $5 or $10 or $20 or $30 or $42.0 a month. And a part of the deal that you and I have made is that by you supporting me, I will buy stuff and review it and test it for you And if a bunch of and yeah, sometimes I know that there's a bunch of you that want to see me review this and test this, and so I will buy it. Um, but yeah, there are my initial impressions about the HDZero Lux camera. Looks like it's 720p, 60 frames a second, so the latency will be awesome. I will absolutely say that when I fly that HDZero AIO5 Tiny Whoop, the latency is awesome. It is absolutely fantastic. Um, but I don't race, and so it doesn't really matter to me, um, because because the analog rigs have almost the same latency, and they're cheaper and lighter, and those two things are more important. Um, and so yeah, I just I'm like desperate to love HD0. I love that it exists. I love that Carl and the team are making something so specific for FPV. I love that it feels like an open source digital video system. There are all these things, but like I don't want to fly it. and it's and it's like it's specifically meant to be flown. You know what I mean? Like so yeah, I just oh, I feel like such a dick, man. Like I just feel, and I've got I've got the HDZero goggles, which are like a really expensive, really nice set of goggles. Um, but like when I'm sitting here and like the analog 36,000 kV 18 gram rig is here, and then the HDZero 40,000 kV 20 point something gram rig is here, the analog rig is gonna fly better, and the breakup doesn't look as harsh. And so like when I fly the HDZero rig, it's just because you guys want me to. And so for the record, so here, if you guys ever want me to fly this, just tell me to in the chat. If somebody in the chat says, "Hey, can you please fly the HDZero rig? I'm thinking about buying it." Amazing, perfect, kind of like because I don't want to fly. Like if you guys don't ask me that, and I've got a pile of tiny whoops, I'm not gonna grab this one. I'm gonna grab the analog rig that's 2 point something grams lighter because it's more fun to fly and it crashes better and it's cheaper. So for the record, if you guys want me to fly one of these rigs that I don't fly very often, just ask. Please ask. I would love to. I would love to fly the walk snail rigs more on the live stream, but they don't fly as good as the analog rig. So I'm not gonna, and I don't care about being able to see where I'm going as much. I'm not making cinematic footage inside. I fly the walk snail rigs, but I fly them like outside, like little tiny cinewhoops, and it's very fun. But like in the house, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. It's not about how good the footage looks. It's about the cool shit that you're doing. And so, yeah, if ever you guys want to see me fly a rig that I've built in the past, like the tiny lifters, I never fly the tiny lifters. If you're thinking about building a tiny lifter, please ask me to fly it on a live stream. I absolutely will. I would love to. I would love to fly this more. But there's got to be a reason for it. These rigs get abused, and they have like a lifespan, and so yeah, like I'm not just gonna put the tiny lifter up in the air at random. Like this is a tool. This is a cinematic tool to carry the Insta360 Go 2. And so like when you have your working rigs, you don't really fly them for fun. You fly them for work. You try to keep the hours off of them so that it takes longer for them to explode and fall out of the air, right? And so yeah, there you go. I also got a bunch of the new HQ propellers. Well, I re-upped on a set of the ultralight 40mm propellers because they're so fragile and they break all the time. So I got another set of those. And then I got another set of the pink old school, not really old school, but higher pitch HQ YOLO props. But then I did snag each color of the new ultralight, ultra low pitch is what I think I'm going to start calling these, HQ 1.2 by zero point 0.9 by 3 propellers. That's what these guys are. I believe the HQ ultralight YOLO props that we've had for 4, 5, 6 months now, I believe these are 1.2 pitch. I think they are one. Oh, it says on them. Now they're only 1.1 pitch. So these are 1.2 inches in diameter by 1.1 pitch by 3, of course, because they're tri-blades. So zero point 0.9, so the new HQ ultralights, 0 0.9 pitch. The old ones 1.1 pitch. That's I'm pretty surprised that is not much of a difference. 0.9 to 1.1, that is like a minimal difference. I am pretty surprised that they didn't go with a wider split. This 0.9 pitch, from what I've heard, is not enough pitch for most motors. And so I would love to see them change the pitch on the old school ones from 1.1 up to like 1.4, 1.5. Then they would be a lot more comparable to the GemFan 1219S's, which are just amazing on the lower kV motors. So yeah, that's I'm genuinely surprised that there's only a 0.2 inch difference in pitch. If what I just said confuses you, pitch of the propeller. The pitch of the propeller is basically how much angle is on the blade. The bigger the number, the more the angle on the blade. Pitch is measured in inches, because the way to calculate pitch is to spin the propeller one full revolution and measure how far it travels in a medium. I don't know if if it's water or air or what, but it's a medium. It doesn't matter what it is, because you're comparing one propeller to another. And so when one propeller has a higher pitch number, it has more angle on the blade. That is a propeller that's going to be more draggy. It's going to ask more of the motor, but it's going to go faster. Low pitch propellers, you have to crank the RPM so that you can get any actual ground speed out of them. The more blade angle, the more comfortable and the better that propeller is going to work at higher speeds. The more angle, now you can never. I was about to go down a little rabbit hole about. I find the way that pitch interacts with the speed that the propellers can travel fascinating. There's if you're interested in it, just do a couple of Google searches. You'll find a couple of really cool articles out there about the relationship between pitch to RPM, and there's like differences in efficiency and stuff like that. It's actually really cool. If you're nerdy enough to sit through 2 hours of this, then you'll dig it. Go check it out. You can thank me later. So yeah, all right, cool. So we got some props. I also got a whole shitload. This is the main reason I did this order. A whole shitload of these awesome 180 degree BT 2.0 PDBs is basically what they are. Check these things out, man. I love these things, and I'm going to be putting these things on damn near everything. Here they are. LED PCB, sorry, PCB, not PDB. LED PCB pigtail kit. You solder the BT 2.0 lead into two of the holes, and then you solder a little lead to the other ones. And I mean, you can just do them like this, and you can make your battery into a little flashlight. But ideally, what you do is you solder up a set of leads, battery leads to the bottom of this, and then you run them to your AIO. And it makes So it's tiny and it's nice and lightweight, and it gives you, so my two favorite things, hands down, the PCB is the perfect little grip for you. So unplugging your batteries becomes infinitely easier with these things, much like the new Beta FPV 180-degree jib jabs. But these are a big block of like rubberized plastic, and rubberized plastic is heavy. So these little LED bastards are actually lighter. I haven't really weighed them in comparison, but I can almost guarantee you that they're lighter, or at least they're the same weight. So yeah, it gives you a nice little grip to actually be able to unplug your BT 2.0 from your battery. That's the first thing I love. The second thing I love, though, I didn't even realize, but how many times have you crashed a tiny whoop somewhere unrecoverable and you go to try to find it and you just can't? That'll never happen again. They're bright, dude. They are like properly bright. It's really hard for me to show this on the live stream because I'm hitting myself with a absolute ton of light right now. But these guys, like, for example, if you crash this into a bush out in your front yard, it lights up a big area of the bush. It's really, really, really cool. Just take my word for it. They are awesome. I think I have enough now. I've bought 4 already, 2 red, 2 pink. I don't remember what colors these are. What's cool is you have to solder the BT 2.0 up to it anyway. So you just solder the BT 2.0 up to it, and then you just plug it into a battery, and it'll tell you what color it is. I believe I've gotten all of the rest of the colors that are in stock. I'm pretty sure I've got white. I definitely got orange. I'm pretty sure I got green. And I don't know what the 4th one would be. But yeah, I think I have all of the colors now. And yeah, these are gold as far as I'm concerned. So I got a bunch. And the last thing I got is a set of these Tiny Whoop Hex 1.5 millimeter motor shaft motors. These are 802 19,000s. I'm just going to throw these stators in the garbage can. I have no use for an 802 19,000 kV stator. Maybe I'll do like a 2S setup at some point. But I got these specifically for the bells because it's the lightest weight 802 bell, which is the EX bell, but with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. So Mo FPV built he built a 1S walk snail. Did he do a 2S? He did a 1S walk snail rig on RC and Power 802 25,000 kV motors. And he's been telling me about it, and he absolutely loves it. From the flight footage, it looks like, and it could just be the way that he flies. He flies very different than me. But it looks like they make enough power. I did a ton of testing, as many of you that have been around for a while know, on my 1S walk snail setup with a ton of different KVs of 0802. 25,000, 27,000, 30,000, 33,000. And none of them had the grunt or the power or the runtime that I was looking for. The RC and Power 802s, the bell design. Oh, and so one of the things that I kind of determined is that with the added weight of the walk snail setup, the 802s were getting too hot. We were trying to carry too much weight with them. What's great about the 802s is that we have the higher KVs that we need. We have 25, 27, 30, 33,000 kV. That's great. I built them all with the onesie bells, which are those solid cylinder bells, and then it's the solid top with the little tiny holes in it. Those bells are heavy. These are the iGao bells that I built with them, right? So the 802 27,000 kV iGao motors, it's that bell design here. I'll show you. You don't have to look it up. I'll show you. Oh my God. There we go. If I search Tiny Whoop for iGao, I bet you it'll come up. Yeah, there we go. So, oh, nope, that ain't it. Here they are. So this bell design. All right. So this is the design that I did on all of them, and what I determined is they're getting too hot. Think, how is this going to cool itself down? Like, yeah, okay, there's these 5 holes on the top, but look, it's got a big thick can on the side here, and like, I don't know, there's a chance that all of this material acts like a heat sink, and there's actually a chance that this bell cools better than what I'm about to show you. I don't know. I really don't know. But what I'm thinking is that maybe it doesn't. Maybe this bell design does not have enough airflow. So now we take a look at the RC in Power 0802, and it doesn't come up. I think it's because I put spaces. Isn't RC and Power like weirdly smashed together? Nope. Maybe Tiny Whoop doesn't sell them. And Power 0802. If you take a look at the RC and Power 0802 bell design, right? Much bigger holes in the top, and not as tall of a flux ring here to hold the magnets in. So maybe this cools itself down a lot better. And then that got me thinking, but I don't want to go down the RC and Power route because it's only a 1mm motor shaft. Nowadays, as of very recently, we've gotten a bunch more 1.5mm motor shaft options. So the motors that I got here on Tiny Whoop are the EX bell. I think, hold on, 19,000. Hey, so this is what I've got now. So much more airflow on the top of the bell, and then look, very similar to the RC and Power bell design. You know what I'm saying? So more air coming in to cool the insides, to cool the actual magnets, and then a little bit more of a shallow flux ring here. So maybe these will run cooler. Here's another option, though. Is that not what it's called? Yeah, no, here it is. This might be the best option, which is also the cheapest. Yeah, I think these are a little bit cheaper. So this is the Happy Model RS0802, 20,000 kV, that comes on the Mobula 7 1S ELRS. And this might be the ultimate bell design. All the airflow up on top, and then the tiniest little bit of a flux ring here, just like exactly the size of the magnets. Ironically / incidentally, Cloudhopper recently sent me this awesome custom Mobula 7 build that's going to be on this week's Whoop Wednesday, I think, with hand rewound Happy Model RS0802 motors. These are actually 36,000 kV on these 1.5. It is an analog rig. And so we'll see. I'm super interested to get this thing up in the air. Because, yeah, maybe that onesie bell design is what was holding us back. So I think that I've got enough stuff now to go down this motor cooling rabbit hole with the 0802s. And I am hopeful. I would really love if an RS 0802 or EX, or Hex as Tiny Whoop calls it, bell with the 1.5mm motor shaft on a 25,000 kV, 27,000 kV, 30,000 kV, whatever, Happy Model Stator would be the motor for the 1S walk snail freestyle rig. Because I don't fly that rig much because I can't find a motor that I like for it. I can't find a motor that stays cool enough, that has the runtime right. Like we've talked ad nauseum about that rig. And I've always kind of felt like it should be a rig that would work on an 802. But yeah, not quite. So we'll see. I'm excited about this. This is we are going deep down the rabbit hole on this one. I mean, this is like some of the shit that I test sometimes. I really wonder if more than like one person cares at all. Does anybody care? Be honest. If you care about this next thing that I'm going to spend 30, 40, 50 hours testing and flying and talking about on these live streams, type I care into the chat. Watch, it's going to be like 3 people. I ask you guys every once in a while what you want me to do. And more often than not, what you say is, I want you to do what you want to do, because that's what you're most interested in and whatever. And I get that. I really do. But like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I wonder. It's like look, you might want to stop saying that, because when you guys say that a bunch, I just go off the deep end. I go off on these fucking tangents, like spending like 4 or 5 live streams testing some shit that it's like, what are we doing, dude? It's like the worst thing that you can possibly do to build like a big following, right? Like I always talk about how like yeah, it's great. Like I hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I just don't care. I really don't. I don't care about attracting a massive number of people. I care about attracting the right people, the people that are interested in the stuff that I'm interested in. And also, to be completely transparent, the people that are willing to support me and the people that are willing to join my Patreon, right? Like I've had to have that. I've had to strike that balance, and I've had to have that on my mind for the last like almost 4 years now. That's something that a lot of people don't get, and it's important to get that. Like, it feels a little bit shallow, but like, look, if you find the right people that really care about what you're doing, those people will also understand the value of what you're doing, and they will want to support you. All you got to do is kind of like remind them, like, hey, this is a crowdfunded thing. Here's how you can support me if you'd like. I'm not like begging. I'm just mentioning, like, hey, if you want to see this get bigger, here's how you can do that. I'm not independently wealthy. I can't just buy everything that there is. And so, yeah, there you guys go. I'm actually seeing a bunch of people say I care, so I would have done it anyway, but it's good to know. Limits says, I've been ignoring the chat. I apologize. Although it's nice to let a bunch of comments build. Oh wait, no, hold on. We're still inside of mailbag. This is a new magnet. It says, let's have a tostada to the good times, tinywhoop.com. This is hands down the most random Tiny Whoop sticker design I've ever seen. Jesse, I was talking to Jesse late last year, I think it was, and he's like, man, he's like, man, I just recently learned, do you know Photoshop? I just recently learned Photoshop. I'm having a blast. I was like, oh, and I had to laugh. I was like, oh yeah, man. Yeah. Because like, it's funny, like not whenever, but like a lot of times when people first learn Photoshop, it's like, it's the coolest thing ever. Cause it is super cool. And like, those people will disappear for a couple months and you're like, yo, what happened to you? And they're like, I just been Photoshopping, bro. And that was like the exact situation. Jesse's like, it was around the time of the little key truck, the tiny K truck, and yeah, he went deep down the rabbit hole making like sticker sheets for the K truck, and it's just, and so like all since then, all of a sudden there's like all these cool new sticker designs from Tiny Whoop, and it's just every single time I'm just like, yeah, it's just cool, man. Photoshop is just magic because it's like it's this like incredible sandbox where you can do absolutely anything, and there's tons of resources about it. And it's just super fun. And like, yeah, Jesse's sticker designs have always been super cool and super niche and like right up our alley. And like now it's like every order that I get from Tiny Whoop every couple months, there's like a bunch of totally new sticker designs that I've never seen before. I'm like, yeah, man, he's still cranking in Photoshop. It's so cool to see. This one says FPV pilot luggage disassembly required. And I think I might have seen this one before. It says, I want to be your first person view. I think this might, maybe not. This might be a newer one. But yeah, shout out to Jesse spending hours and hours and hours in Photoshop. Very cool stuff. So yeah, that was my Tiny Whoop order. And of course, a little blue raspberry that I will give to Azalea. She loves those. Also got a surprise package from Weebleed just today in the mail, actually. Zotac is massively supportive of what I've been doing here for a long time. So as always, huge shout out to Zotac over at Weebleed FPV. Sent me a bunch of these stickers. These will be in upcoming giveaways, of course. New batch of he even put a note on it. I heard about this at Castle Crash, actually. There were a couple of people talking about his hot sauce, and then one of them was like, "Yo, did you guys hear he's got a new batch coming?" I think he might have gone out of stock for a little bit, and a couple of people were like, "Yeah, I heard that." And they were all excited. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And so yeah, this is new recipe, second batch. It says, so yeah, it's really good stuff. If you ever do a Weebleed order and this is in stock, snag a bottle. It's really good, especially if you don't love like massive amounts of heat in your hot sauce. It is exactly what it says here. Sweet, although now he's got hot in bigger letters, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a little bit hotter than the old one. But the old one was very garlicky and very sweet, which is like perfect for me. It was like just enough where if I had a little bit of it, my asshole wouldn't just completely turn inside out and explode. But if I put a bunch into what I was eating, yeah, it would be chocolate milk all night. But I'm a little worried about this. But Azalea loves this, and she doesn't have the same stomach problems that I do, thank God. And so, yeah, she might be all over this. But really good stuff. Keep it refrigerated after opening. It says it real small here. But yeah, a lot of people don't think that hot sauces need to be refrigerated. Maybe some hot sauces don't need to be refrigerated, but yeah, this one specifically says it, so do it. I have no idea what's in here. This is a total surprise, and as always, a very generous total surprise. Zotac, my God, thank you so much, dude. This is a lot of stuff. Very cool. This is one of my favorite Tiny Whoop stickers. Like of all time. I'm probably gonna put one of these on the back window of my car. I pulled all the stickers off the back window of the car, and I'm doing. I like to change the stickers every once in a while, and I do like themes, and the theme that's going on the car is holographic. I got a couple of holographic. I got a holographic Tiny Whoop sticker. I got some of my holographic stickers. So yeah, this is gonna almost certainly make its way onto the back window of the Mazda 2. Just putting it over a little bit closer to the garage. And then we've got Northeast Whoop Championships. Does that say 2025? That says 2025. Look at that. Oh, that's cool. It's the battery connector. That's well done. That's good graphic design right there. I dig that. One of the Band-Aids. One of the Weebleed Band-Aids. And then this is a new one. That's super cool. Bleed Eye. Does he have a camera coming out? He must have a camera coming out. or out already, and I didn't even know about it. That's pretty slick. What else do we have here? I'm assuming, yeah. Very, very cool. So we've got some. Oh, dude, thank you, Zotek. Oh my God, I was waiting for the 1.5 millimeter shaft bells to come in stock, to order some of these. These are the 1.2 inch. 12 the Gemfan 1210s with the 1.5 inch motor shaft. So we now have one of the 3 best Tiny Whoop propellers in 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, which is absolutely awesome. I really, really, really hope that Gemfan comes out with a 1219S with a 1.5 mil shaft, and HQ comes out with the ultralight props with a 1.5 millimeter shaft. But this right here means that we can do a proper ultimate freestyle Tiny Whoop with 1.5 millimeter motor shafts and some good propellers. This is awesome. A couple of packs of these, and then nice in the Weebleed red as well. Very, very cool. Yeah. Oh man, that is so good. Couple of sets of the vegan sponsored 0802 25,000 kV 1.5 millimeter shaft motors. Oh shit, I didn't know these were EX bells. Ooh, yo. So these are the lightweight EX bells, just like what I just bought from Tiny Whoop in the blue and green color, but in the vegan green. This is very cool. I will run these on the Walksnail 1S rig because I don't have to do any work, but I think 25,000 kV is a little bit low. I am going to certainly end up taking the bells off of these that I just got from Tiny Whoop and putting them onto either 27,000 or probably 30,000 kV motors. And this is awesome because I'll be able to run these and then just frame swap it to a frame with the higher kV motors, and we'll get to see. That'll be a really nice back-to-back to see if 25,000 kV is enough, or if 27, maybe even 30,000 kV gives us that little bit extra with that heavyweight 75 millimeter rig. This is really cool. I will probably put the other set of these vegan motors into a giveaway. I don't think I need 2 sets of these. To be totally honest, I think that 25,000 kV will be a little bit too low on that rig. So I might end up testing these and then giving both of these away in giveaways. But yeah, one of these is definitely going to be a giveaway item. Just because 25,000 kV is ever so slightly on the low side for me. If I'm going to have a rig with an 802, I want it to be 27 or 30 or 33,000 kV. We have those higher kVs available. I want to use them. So yeah, nothing against these motors. For most people, these are an awesome, arguably the best motor for a 75 millimeter analog rig. Because it's the EX bell, because it's 1.5 millimeter motor shafts, because it's 25,000 kV. So these are very cool. Coming to a giveaway near you soon. These though, these are what I'm ultra excited about. 32,500 kV, great kV. Just enough, not too much. Anything below this, and it's like, well, if you put a pitchy prop on it, it's okay. But yeah, the Happy Model 0702 32,000 and or 32,500 kV motor. In my opinion, that is it. Like, hey, I want to build the ultimate freestyle Tiny Whoop. Cool, that's your motor. The 36,000 kV Firefly motors, the green ones, they're hysterical. Don't get me wrong. But for most people, these are way too much. The 40,000 kV motors, for anyone, anywhere, ever, are too much. Again, they're absolutely hysterical. And on like a Walksnail build or a heavier HDZero build, they make an awful lot of sense to offset that extra fat. But they're just ridiculous. 32,500, 32,000 kV, it's like a little bit ridiculous, but not completely insane. And so You don't have to motor limit them. You certainly can. You don't have to add throttle expo. You should. But like, yeah, they're just like the perfect all-around motor. And this one has a 1.5mm motor shaft. So at the moment, it kind of depends. If there were, not taking anything away from the Gemfan 1210s, you guys know that these are sort of, I don't know. There was a time where it was this prop or nothing. They were my absolute favorites. The Gemfan 1219S's are really good. The HQ YOLO props are really good. And so it's not just like, yeah, these are the 1210s are the best propeller ever anymore. It's like there are 3 awesome props. And so at the moment, this is really the only propeller option for this motor, right? Which again is totally fine. This is a great propeller, but it's like you know, there's these other 2 prop options that are also really good. So like I can't necessarily say that this is the absolute best possible Tiny Whoop 65mm motor available right now today. Boy, is it one of the it could be. For a lot of people, I think it is, because this motor with this prop is awesome. There's nothing wrong with this combo. This is the combo that I ran for over a year when I was starting to get really good at tiny whooping inside hard. And so this is legit right here. This is a hell of a little setup. This will be a damn near indestructible tiny whoop setup with the 1.5mm motor shafts. So this is super exciting, man. This is it's a good time to be into tiny whooping right now. We've got all kinds of amazing new products that are like not just being shit out to make money. Like products that are innovating is like a big word, but like it is like this is actual innovation. Like 1mm motor shafts are too thin and too fragile. Done, fixed, right? Like fixed, good to go. And that's, you know, innovation. We more think of like a whole new frame design or like a Tiny Whoop 8 motor setup, right? Like when the word innovation, like it's like you think of like bigger things, but that's what this is, just on a slightly smaller scale. But the problems that this is fixing are real problems. Like this is legitimately cool stuff. Another one of their prop poppers, which is very cool. Zotek has sent me a couple of these in the past. I kept one, and then the rest of them have been in giveaways. This one will be going into giveaways as well. It looks like he sent a couple sets of the Oh, no way. Yo. Oh, man. YouTube just bombed again. What is going on with fucking YouTube lately? Hold on. The chat bombed. I gotta reopen it. I mean, like, YouTube's chat has always been pretty awful. But it's been particularly awful lately. Yo. Look at this. First person to type in chat why I'm so excited right now wins nothing. So in this box with this, there was this. How many people just made a mess? Oh, it's a lot of focus. How many people just made a mess in their pants? Anybody? So, where is mine? It's in my little to-go thing. Well, whoever wins this in the giveaway is not going to hopefully mind that I've taken it out of the packaging. One of the things that makes Zotek's prop popper different is it has different tips for the prop popper, right? We have motors with old school brushed motors were 0.8 millimeter shaft. Current generation small motors are 1 millimeter shaft. And then we've got 1.5 millimeter shaft motors, right? And so Zotek's design here, you can unscrew the bottom and just like your like the chuck on your drill bit, you can remove the little tip and you can swap on a different tip that corresponds with the motor that you're using it for. And then in the plunger, why did that happen? It just fell right out of there. I'm sure that's user error. Did I put it in backwards or something? I just not tighten it enough? I didn't tighten it enough. The top part of the plunger is also threaded. How do I get a grip on this? Whatever. Take my word for it. The top part of the plunger is also threaded here, and that's where those little tips are stored. These are drill bit tips. Can you use them as pushers or just drill bits? So this is I'm assuming, a 0.8 millimeter, 1 millimeter, and 1.5 millimeter drill bit tip. So check this out. So you take this off, and then, and then this comes out here, and then there's plenty of room in here for those drill bit tips. There it is. So there you go. So this bottom part comes off, right? And so here's your extra tips. Plenty of room in that tube for the drill bits as well as these regular tips. So you take this fucker off, and this is just like a drill bit chuck. Everybody knows what's about to happen. I don't know why I continue to show you this. This is not me insulting your intelligence. This is me being excited. I promise. You screw this back on because you're going to need this. This is now your pin vise, my friends. No need to buy a big, silly, fancy pin vise anymore. Although this is pretty nice, admittedly. I will still keep this on my desk with a 1 millimeter and a 1.5. But on the go, come on, this is your on the go pin vise. You take your, I'm gonna assume this is the 1 millimeter. Put it into the little Chucky boy there. Screw this on. And now you can drill out your 1 millimeter propellers. Let's test it out. Let's test it out. So these HQ props are always too tight. This is fucking genius. For the record, that's perfect. That is just goddamn perfect. Were you taking a shit or showering when you thought of this, Zotek? Be honest. And so this might not be the 1 millimeter. So there's 3 different sizes in here. I'm assuming it's 0.8 millimeter. Yeah, okay. So this one's definitely 0.8 because it just spins on there. So 0.8. You probably won't use the 0.8. Nobody's flying brush tiny whoops anymore, but it's amazing that it's in there. This is certainly the 1.5. And yeah, this must be the 1 millimeter. So here's my only potential feedback, and I'll tell you in a second, but here's my feedback. Maybe Zotek already did this, but my pin vices, this is actually not 1 millimeter. This is 0.98 or 0.99 millimeters. It's a little bit too small because we don't want to take too much material off the inside of the propeller. And then this one is 1.47, I think, instead of 1.5. I have used 1 millimeter and 1.5 millimeter drill bits before. Here's the key. I'm assuming that this is 1 millimeter. Maybe it's not. Zotek is in the chat. Maybe he'll tell us. But if you're going to use a 1 millimeter or a 1.5 millimeter, this is important. Don't get carried away. Put the prop on here. Run it down through. You got to get all the way through the propeller. This feels like it's this feels like it's okay. So I'm going to compare it to the 0.98. I'm going to compare it to the 0.98. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to drill it out with the 0.98, and then I'm going to try to drill it out with that. That just now, that felt like it was taking off a bunch of material, a bit much. So there's the 1.8. There's the 0.98. That was pretty easy to get through here. Where's a motor? Here's a motor. So this is now perfect. That took off the exact amount of material where it slides on there. Not too easy, not too hard. It's not going to fly off, but it's also not going to wreck the motor. All right, let's see. So this is the one that came. I'm not going to drill out the motor. I'm going to drill out the prop. This is the one that came from Weebleed. All right, so here we go. So it's starting to bite. Running it in. And so the deal with these that are like 1 millimeter. Oh, okay. So this is not. So I got to tighten up this. I got to tighten the chuck up a little bit. All right. So here's the deal. If you ever do end up getting like a 1 millimeter drill bit. Ooh, you got to really tighten this chuck up. Let me use actual man strength here. All right, let's see. It's digging. I think this is going to remove too much material. Oh, man, and it keeps spinning in the chuck. All right. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we're spinning. All right. It's almost all the way through. Come on. I want it, as soon as it's taken out a lot of plastic. I think this is a little too big. All right. It's hung up again, but boy, is it removing a lot of plastic. It just pulled a big thing of plastic. Zotek says he didn't make them true 1.0. I think it's a bit big. That's removing a whole bunch of plastic. We'll see in a second. I think it's just going to fall into the motor shafts. I didn't get all the way through the propeller. And it left a little bit of a dig in the side there. Let me just take a quick look here. It's taking off too much. Yeah, it's taking a little too much plastic off. The prop is actually like wiggling on the motor shaft. You know what's funny is like I looked at it and I was like, ooh, that looks a little too big. Here, let me show you. That one's definitely point. Is this one 0.8, Zotek? Is it, or there's 3 in here? Is it 0.8, 1, 1.5? This point, what I think is a 0.8, it just dropped right on there. It didn't remove any material. So if the smallest one is the one that you're saying it's not true 1.0, the smallest one might be a little bit too small. But since there were 3, I assumed that it was 0.8, 1.0, 1.5. It might be 1, 1.5, 2. That might be what's going on here. Let me try to show you guys. So this is gonna be tough, but we'll give it a shot. Whoa. So here's my pin vise. That is 0.98. This to me is perfect. It removes just enough, but not too much. Here's the smallest one that came in the kit. think maybe this is the one that's not true 1.0. Here's the one that I was just using. Yeah, that's obviously bigger. Here is 1.47. This is also a reamer drill bit, which is why it looks different. Oh, I just drilled that prop out to 1.5, didn't I? This one's 1.5. And then here's the other one that comes in the kit. Let me guess. This one's going to be significantly bigger. Oh, yeah, that's 2, isn't it? That's 2 millimeters. Wait, here, let's do this. Yeah, no, that's 2. These are touching tips. Oh, that's 2 for sure. Got it. Okay, so this is the one that I should have used. This is a little bit on the small side. In my opinion, Zotek, in my opinion, this is a little bit on the small side. Just because the prop just dropped here. I'll grab a fresh prop. So this guy's now ruined. Hold on. Let me not use these pink ones because I bought them as extras. I don't want to go through them. Here's the new HQ, the 0.9 pitch props that I don't think I'm going to like anyway. So these propellers fit too tight on motor shafts. And see? So what you're going to have to do to remove any material is like side load this, which is not a big deal. And that will actually remove the smallest amount of material possible. But yeah, this, in my opinion, this is a little bit too small. I've had the best luck with, it's either 0.998, 0.98 or 0.99. I believe it's 0.98. And it's just right. It just removes a little bit, but not too much. So yeah, this is goddamn genius though. This is so cool. And then you take these and hopefully I can get this unscrewed. I really tighten this. That's why I was having trouble with the drill bit spinning, because I was trying to drill this out to 1.5 millimeters, which is like crazy. I hope I can get this unchucked. Oh, got it. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So that's good to know. So yeah, my guess would be that this small one is like 0.95. There it is. Zotek just said 1.52. Got it. I got there. I eventually got there. This is amazing. Yeah, I don't know if these are just prototypes or whatever, but if they are prototypes, I would say make the one just ever so slightly, like I'm gonna guess 0.02 bigger, if possible. I don't know if whoever you're having make these has the tolerances to do that, but yeah, that'd be my recommendation. What I will say is that, so that is with the HQ YOLO prop. This is a propeller that you don't have to like put tons of force to get it onto a motor if you don't drill it out, but you still have to put too much force onto it. There are other propellers out there. I'm looking at you, newbie drone, with your Azzies. And I think there are some old school Gemfan props that are, the inner diameter is significantly smaller than this. And for those propellers, this drill bit would be perfect. But this would not remove quite enough material, and then you'd be in a similar situation as with this propeller, where you're really pushing it down onto the motor, and you can potentially hurt the motor. So yeah, if this 1 millimeter drill bit was just a little bit bigger, 0.02 or 0.03 bigger is going to be my guess. That would be perfect, and it would take you, if you can get the manufacturer to send you a bunch of these, use this propeller as your test, because it's open enough but not quite open enough. Man, we talk some shit on here, don't we? These are genius though, man. This is so cool. And I wonder if you can put these into the chuck backwards. You can almost put these into the chuck backwards to use them as the pusher, but there's no reason to do that. Just put them in the tube, and then you have your regular prop pusher, 3 of the prop pusher things in the tube, and then you've got your 3 little drill bits into the tube. Fucking cool, man. Great stuff. Yeah, this is awesome. Yo, that is so cool. That'll be so cool once that gets dialed in. That'll be absolutely amazing to have an on-the-go thing, and or just everybody will have an easy way of getting a set of drill bits to drill these propellers out. You won't have to rely on me buying 10 or 20 of them from Amazon and not putting them on my Etsy store, even though I said I would 2 weeks ago. Very cool. Damn, hell yeah. I'm gonna leave these out on the desk because I'm gonna check the 1.5 for you, to see how that is, because I'm the perfect guy to test it, because I've been drilling these propellers out for literally years. All right, so here's how you put this thing back together. You put the little pusher in the front. You take the little jib jab. You go in there, and then you take the other 3. You drop them down the tube. 1, 2, 3. And you... Nope. That's not how you put this back together. You can put that on. You got to have this off, because you don't have to take the bit out, but you got to have that boy off so that you can run it. Nope. And I forgot the spring. You put the spring on, put it through here, and then you chuck it. And now you're back. And now it's back to a prop popper instead of a pin vise. Dual purpose pin vise prop popper. I thought I was fancy with a dual pin vise. This is a single pin vise, but with a prop popper as well. Awesome. Now we're talking, man. What a box of stuff. Holy shit, man. This is going right back in here, and this is going to be a giveaway item. Dude, amazing. This propeller is now ruined because I drilled it out to 1.5, and I'm not going to drill more of these out to 1.5. Weebleed says 0.95 I made it. Okay, yep, we can adjust to 0.97 in future batches. Yeah, 0.97 or 0.98, either or. 0.97 is going to be safer because it'll remove a little bit more material, and then if that's not enough, you just side load it. When you're spinning it, you just push the prop up or down or left or right or whatever, and it just removes that little extra bit of material. Dude, awesome stuff. And then a couple of packs of batteries here. These are 300s. Thank you, dude. Did you know that I needed more of these? Although I've got a bunch of the lavas that I'm testing. Yeah, my Weebleed, the last set of the Weebleed 300s that I bought are getting old for sure. So as much as I want to put both of these into upcoming giveaways, I might actually keep a set of these and retire my Weebleed 300s because they're getting a little bit older. So yeah, I think one of these goes into giveaways, and then one of these I'm going to run. And then we can keep... I like to run different batteries when I'm flying so that you guys can take a look at the run times and kind of compare. I swear that none of these batteries are any different. I'm still kind of convinced that they're all made in the same spot. If they're not all made in the same spot, boy, do they perform similar to one another. So I think that the... I think the way that you should decide which 300 mAh BT 2.0 battery you buy is based on the sticker. The Weebleed batteries have a sticker that wraps all the way around, and so when you put it into and out of the frames, it doesn't try to peel the sticker off, which gets super annoying, and it gets adhesive all over the place. The Beta FPV lava batteries are the only other ones that do that same thing. So to me, those are the two 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries to buy. because of the sticker setup. Just kind of insane, but it actually matters because it is super annoying when the sticker keeps peeling off. And then Zotek sent me an extra set of these little pins in there, which is awesome. I don't know what I'll do with these. If anybody has the Weebleed prop popper and they have lost one of their little pins, let me know. I got you. It'll cost you $5 for shipping, but hey, maybe buy some other shit on Etsy, my Etsy store, and I'll throw them in there for free. Dude, Zotek, thank you so much, brother. Are the bells, since I got you, are the bells in stock? Are the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft 0702 bells only in stock yet? If so, I'm gonna do a little order for those and some other stuff. Damn, dude, very, very cool. Very cool. It is 8:19. I've been streaming for over 2 hours. See you guys later. Bye-bye. No, hold on. Did we do all the things? Q&A, we did that. I didn't fly yet. Mailbag, Atlanta Pride recap. We obviously talked about that. Let's fly a couple batteries, and then you guys can go enjoy the rest of your Sunday nights. Is there a transmitter around here somewhere? Sure is. Somebody asked me to fly the HDZero rig, so I will. I've got the wrong goggles on to do that. Okay. Wait, how do I have that set up? That's going HDMI, right? Yeah. So that's going out of there into there. So I just have to switch this over. And then I gotta plug this guy in here. And now the HDZero setup is plugged in. Feed it power. And then we're gonna grab some goggles. So we are about to fly my HDZero AIO5 build, which is on Weebleed 0702 40,000 kV motors and 1210 propellers, Gemfan 1210 props. Where did it go? Here it is. It's on this crappy little antenna. I need to swap this out for a micro V. What else? It's the racing cam, Module 6 old school canopy, a beat ass Newbie Drone Cockroach V3 frame, and it's got one of these excellent little LED PCBs on it. What do you think of that? Dude, Zotek, thank you so much, brother. Oh my god. Very, very, very cool stuff in that box right there. Do I have a goggle battery? What's happening? Where are them goggle batteries at? Yo, my feet are wrecked. Not only did I walk a ton today at the parade, I basically walked the entire parade route. The ground was like hot as shit. And I had like Vans on. They were all boiling hot. And I had stupid like fancy socks on. I should have worn my nice thick stance socks, but I didn't. I wore like what amount to dress socks, essentially. Sock choice was all wrong today. Here comes HDZero. Oh shit! Do I really only have 2 batteries to fly? Oh shit! Well, 2's better than none. This is a Tattoo 300 mAh battery. Look at that, man! Look at that! Look at that nice bright red LED. Look at that bright red man. Look at those pores. Is that good? Look how fucking close up this camera is focused. Hold on. Hold on, this is important. This is important. I don't know how this is going to work, but work as well as I thought it would. Okay. This rig's gonna overheat while I'm fucking around. Hold on, let me arm it. Jesus. Here we go, man. The ultimate HDZero AIO5 rig. Weebleed says yes. Awesome. 0702 1.5mm bells only. I am excited about that. That makes me happy in the pants region. Coming down to source, changing it to HDZero. Here we go. HDZero rig. Battery's already come down a little bit, so don't pay any attention to the run. Well, there's already 30 seconds of runtime from idling. Woo, low up tilt. Oh my god! Why couldn't I have not crashed right after that? Ooh, it went through there. I swear to God, it went through. Uh-oh. Didn't give it quite enough of a blip. Where's Tedward Spaghettward at? Where's the dog? What's he doing? Is that him? There he is. He's upset because his mother has gone to sleep, I think. Hey. Ooh, that direction change was fucking hot. Oh, I hit the railing. Even though this thing is like 20 point something grams. Oh, shit. These 702 40,000s make up for it. And it just rips. Woo, God, we went through it in both directions. Ah, so close. Oh my God, twice in a row, you son of a bitch. How dare you? Third time's a charm, maybe. Oh, no! Why? It's just a simple Ciotti loop. Or Ciotti flip. What did we name it? Well, what is happening? Oh my God, I got through one, but not the other. Oh, sure, I can do it when there's like, when I don't line it up or anything. Ooh, that was a hard hit. Yo. Yeah, the low latency of... Oh my God, I was not looking where I was going. I was looking at the OSD. The low latency of HDZero makes this just like an analog rig. In like the best way possible. But, you know, 2 minute and 36 runtime with 30 seconds of just idling. You know, like the... And just in general, like the weight. It's the weight. It's the weight that really... And, like, don't get me wrong, this is incredibly lightweight for something with an HD video system on it, but it's 2 and a bit grams heavier than a comparable analog setup. And so the runtime suffers, and the flight performance is just not the same. This is incredible, and if I didn't have a set of analog goggles, I would be thrilled with this. But I do. I do have analog goggles, and so... Look at this dog. Look at that fresh haircut. Teddy. This camera seems to, like, stretch things vertically a little bit. The dog's head looks hysterical. Like, this is a round Weebleed gate, but, like, doesn't it look kind of oval? Doesn't that look kind of oval? Teddy's face looks a little bit different in this camera. It looks a little taller. It could just be his... could just be the haircut that he just got, though. He looks very angry with this haircut. Doesn't he look angry? Look at his eyebrows. He's got angry... He's got permanent angry eyebrows. But that's okay. He's German. Somewhere a German just got quite offended. I apologize. Be less angry, and people won't call you angry. People won't call you angry. This fucking fly's great, man. Like, I absolutely noticed the extra weight. Like, there's no questioning that. But, like, compared to the extra 6 grams of walk snail, I mean, this is absolutely night and day. This is so much more freestylable than a walk snail tiny whoop. Come on, you can't tell me that shit wasn't hot. Oh! Every time I do that, every time I celebrate, I immediately crash because I'm like not. There he is. I'm not focusing anymore. Oh shit! All right, so this is gonna be the biggest power loop ever because this thing is still in the corner. Ah! Almost. The battery is like dead too. Oh! One more. Do we got one more? Oh god, I'm all fakakta. Come on, one more. Get it. Oh no! Please! Oh, you son of a bitch! It got through the first one, but it hit the second one. This poor battery. No, I can't do it. I can't do another one. The battery is literally flashing at me. The OSD is literally flashing at me, rather. Oh yeah, I had to go. I was just at full throttle and it didn't even make it up on the table. Oh, so close. So close. We got through the first one. Woo! Yeah, this thing flies great. It really does. The AAO5 is a marvel of engineering. I don't get it. I don't get how they put an HDZero VTX and an entire AIO onto one board. And yeah, if you've got... What fan is running? Oh, good. This fan over here. The fan on the... So, just in case you were wondering, my goggles were not plugged in because way back when, FPV Exchange sent me the module that hangs off the front of the goggles, and I held on to it, and I'm glad that I did because it's got HDMI out, and then I just strapped a Fat Shark battery to the back of it, and so you can just plug it right in, and then that goes into a Elgato HD60S Plus capture card into OBS. And I can have wireless HDZero, which is really cool. It's so much nicer than hooking a cable up to the goggles. Although I actually was unable. I for whatever reason, that capture card did not jive with these goggles when I sent it HDMI out. It was super weird. So yeah, luckily I had that floating around. There you go, my friends. That's the best live stream I can possibly do after 2 heavy days of flying and working and all the things. Thanks for hanging. Remember, guys, in the future, if there's any tiny whoop that you want me to fly, ask me. Ask me to fly it, please. I enjoy it. You're not like inconveniencing me. You're allowing me to fly a rig that I haven't flown in a while. So yeah, if in the future you want to see me fly the ultimate Air 65 build, which is direct soldered 40,000 kV motors, light AF frame, the Beta FPV 5-in-1 board, and I need to figure the camera situation out on this rig. The camera is like rotating in this mount. I thought that this Beta air mount was actually good because it moves the camera up, so it stops the camera from breaking the AIO. But it's not. It's got this stupid screw, which makes it supposedly pinch the lens, but it doesn't. It doesn't pinch the lens enough, or maybe I just didn't. Maybe I didn't have it screwed down enough. I'm afraid it's gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I also do need to switch the camera out. But yeah, if there's a rig that I've built that you guys want to see me fly, please do ask me. You'll be helping other people out that aren't watching live that also want to see me fly that rig. Cool. Love you guys. Bye. Wait, not ready. Here's a little bit more flight footage from the parade. Let's see if this is a good one. Let me try to give you a good one. Is this a good one? I got a better one than that. Come on. Here, I'll play you one from the Rainbow Crosswalk area. Or not, because they're all just me sitting on the ground. There we go. Hey, this one even has bubbles in it. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern time. CiottiFPV.com if you want to support me. Love you, bye! See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.